These are my Ascension messages. Love to see you here this morning. Today we are going to channel some messages through. So usually I just do this via YouTube, but I decided to do it Facebook and YouTube today because my YouTube was taken down last channeling off YouTube, because I don't know, they haven't even given me an explanation. So obviously I pressed a button with my channeling advice. Okay, so it's really strange what happened. I was getting messages about relationships throughout the week, and I put a couple down on my phone. So I'm going to read some of those out, but I also obviously want to get into the channeling. And then this morning, this whole new topic came in, and it's all to do with key holders. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. So then I started to channel through some information and I wrote it down, and it all ended up coming full circle to relationships as well. So I went to change the title because I wanted to call it New Relationships and Key Holders. But I think it's all going to be encompassing into the new relationships and understanding what's really going on with our relationships anyway, which was the first title that I put up. And this is how spirit moves, right? Sometimes, you know, we're going one way and then the energy just tweaks a little bit and you get other information coming through, and you've got to follow it. You can't just turn around and go, I'm going to ignore that because I've already titled my YouTube something else or my Facebook something else. So we're just going to go with the flow with this and see where this all goes. Private chat. I'll just see if there's a chat bar. Okay, see if I can open chat here. Yeah, just all different through Restream, so excuse me. And see if I can picture 4. Sorry guys. No, now I've lost my chat bar, I think. Okay, we'll go back to... Okay, I'm not really sure how to get to the chat bar from here. Okay, I think I got it. Rightio, let's just get into this anyway. More important is the message. So first of all, they were talking about relationships, and they said that they were bringing me to the history. Hey, Sky, there's somebody's just come on my chat, but at least I know it's working right through Restream. Thank you, Sky. So they were bringing me to the history of relationships and the understanding of when the masculine was in charge and the logical thinking of what a relationship entailed, because it literally, the masculine or the logical side of self had to control the outside, and had to also, because of the imbalance of the feminine where the masculine was in charge, it decided, you know, had to control that feminine aspect of the relationships as well. So in the past, there was specific rules put in place for matrimony. And so then the weddings came and that sort of thing, and it was like a stipulated rule book of, if you get married, you stay married, otherwise you're going to be persecuted by other people outside of you for divorcing or whatever, because way back, we're talking about early 1900s and so forth, and even mid 1900s, and obviously before that. You know, it was really made sure that everybody was put in line with, if you're married, you're married, you stay married no matter what. And that meant that you weren't really shifting into or evolving. Your soul was not evolving. You were stuck, and it kept humanity stuck in a certain vibration as well. It's part of the mirroring effect of humanity and how we saw ourselves outside of ourselves. Now then, coming up to the unraveling of our storyline, where the feminine is starting to raise to be of equal standing to the masculine side, and now we're starting to realize that even that's not right. We're supposed to be like, sometimes the feminine's supposed to be in charge and sometimes the masculine's in charge, and so forth, like this. As we go through our life, it's like a wave. They keep showing me a wave. So there's this unraveling and breaking up of all the situations which weren't working for the soul's evolution. And so we had a lot of divorces and things like that. And then it was kind of accepted in a term, especially now, because everybody is getting divorced. Why? Because the soul has been crying out to evolve. And we can't stay stuck in the same limited contents of what the logical mind put us into, or the masculine mind put us into, which holds on to a story. And that is the masculine mind's way of doing things. It has to hold on to a story because it creates this limited storyline where everything is in a fixed position so that we can have an adventure in this reality. So it held it very strong. And then when the breaking up happened, many of our relationships broke up. Now we're reaching a point where we're starting to understand that our relationships need to have a different resonance. So I'm going to now read out some of this this information that I got and I channeled through. Hey Diana, hey Debbie, hey Kelly, all from YouTube. Okay, here we go. So first up, a very small message. Relationships are in the process of changing for the better, because we are learning to change our relationships with ourselves for the better. Excuse my throat. I just wake up and then I have to do all this talking, so excuse me. Just get a cup of tea. Now, then they said, okay, let's talk about sound frequency in relationships. I'm like, okay, sound frequencies. So I'm going to read this bit off my phone. Sound vibrates and match certain, okay, so sounds vibrate, right, and they match a certain pattern, causing a shift within molecules to form patterns. So you can see the sound vibration in the physical. And this is called cymatics, and it's cymatics not with an S, it's CYMATICS. And it is a very valuable variant to understanding why things in our physical world shift in and out of our life, and why sometimes you can feel off another when they don't feel good and when they do feel good. You are an antenna. You're an antenna picking up sensory vibes of others and either choosing to resist or resonate with them. If you resist, the patterns or vibes between you clash and conform, especially if your logical mind's going, that's the person for me because it resonates with somebody from my past. So I need to stay with that person because my logical mind feels safe with that person because I know that sort of energy. But what happens is if the vibes aren't the same, then you end up in a codependency relationship as you move like two magnets. If you've ever seen two magnets and they're not resonating with each other, they push the other one, never quite connecting to a point where the vibe is at the same rate. So it's like two people coming together where the magnet's not working as in connecting. And you know, if it's the opposite side, and you push one, then the other one will always have a gap between it and it will push along. So the codependency goes like this, but you never actually meet in the middle. And so you never feel satisfied within that relationship. Mostly people are scared to lose themselves when connecting to another because they haven't found their own strength or self-support. So if they end up resonating with somebody that they feel really, you know, this is my vibe, they'll run the other way because they're like, well, I don't feel really strong within myself to be able to connect with that person because then I'm scared I'm going to lose myself. So they haven't found their own strength or self-support. But if one does find their unfaltering existence when no one outside of you has the last word on how you live your life, then you're ready to see the right relationships for you with clarity and resonate with the same vibe, just like two magnets that attract. The field then gets stronger, right? Because you've got two magnets now together, or two people together. and they can magnetize more towards them. This creates the soul tribes. This is why there's new soulmate relationships. These new soulmate relationships are going to change the world, because when your field of self-love is strong, you will only wait for another that is also ready to become united with you in your energy field. Therefore, your joining becomes a strength for each other, and also for others to collaborate with you, forming a unified field of people instead of a warring zone of resistance and codependency. Now, they started with a good example, and this is where this key holder came in. I'll just talk about that in a minute. But yeah, so that totally resonated with me. So we're shifting out of the logical mind saying that we need a rule book and these people have to stay together because they promised each other and never the twain shall part kind of thing, to, okay, my soul really doesn't feel like it's growing in this relationship. I need to move from this relationship. And if I move, is this relationship going to dissolve? Well, yes, if the other person isn't ready to move with you, of course, you move away, because you're starting to see more of the world. You're starting to collaborate more with the world and understand different things. And this person's like, I don't even know where you're going. You're going to a dream world. Where are you going? You know, that doesn't resonate with me at all. And so the relationship starts to fall away. And then you're sitting here going, okay, I need to find another relationship. So what do we do though? I'm not really fully in my power, but that person reminds me of that person. Or kind of, there's usually a subliminal thing within the back of your head where you start to connect or magnetize towards somebody that is feeling like your logical mind can handle it, but your logical mind's still self-doubting, putting you down and all that sort of thing. And so you start to join in with another person. You have the codependency thing happening where you never really meet and you never feel satisfied with that relationship. So you part again. And you go on these self-developing journeys of what's right for me, who's right for me, that sort of thing. Well, who's right for me is the person that you become within yourself. So you start to look at, instead of who's right for me, how can I change myself? How can I fix me? How can I... there's only one thing that needs to change here. Otherwise, I'm going to keep on bringing in the same relationships. And that's my self-talk and what my logical mind has been programmed to tell me, that how useless I am, how I shouldn't expand my reality, all that sort of stuff. We have to put it in a place over there and say, shush, you've taken over too much of myself. And then we allow our souls to come in. Now, our souls have a whole heap of other information and understanding, our right hemisphere, our intuition that's connected to all of that, our feelings. And so it starts to bring in all that the soul's journey has gone on. So now we're like learning to vibrate in a way from ourselves. We're trying to find our own beautiful self for ourselves, with our logical mind and what's gone on in the past, plus our new information of our soul's lineage. And then we have to accept it in our logical mind. It's very much a journey and a transition that we're going through at the moment. That's literally where humanity is at this moment. Okay, so then they said, a good example for this is watching a tuning fork vibrate. This is really cool. So when someone dings a tuning fork, if you've ever seen one, I wish I had a picture of it. It's like a metal fork, and then it's just got two prongs and then a little handle, just so that you understand if you come across a picture of it or you see one that you want to buy or purchase. When you ding it, it resonates, it vibrates, and it makes a sound, right? It's called a tuning fork. Watching a tuning fork vibrate to other tuning forks that aren't at the same note. So you could have a series of them and they're all different notes, C, D, A, G, whatever. And you ding one, so you ding the A, and then all the other ones, they won't vibrate or anything. They won't do anything because, you know, they're just sitting there anyway. But as soon as you bring in another A vibrating fork next to it, even though you haven't dinged it, you haven't like whacked it or anything to make it vibrate. As soon as you bring it close to the A that already is already vibrating, it starts vibrating as well. So this now brings me to what we call, okay, now let me just read a little bit of this, which is probably what I'm just talked about. So we bring in another tuning fork, the same keynote. You won't have to do anything, no tapping or touching, just place it next to the already vibrating other one and it will start to vibrate as well. This is how we awaken others. This now brings me to what we call key resonance, who are people who hold souls who come from different places, different frequencies, different dimensions, different planets. And they are beings, they are specifically here to find themselves out of trying to fit into to everybody else, where they never felt like they resonated with anyone else. And then they shift their dynamics into, okay, I have to go through a lot of shadow work and a lot of understanding who I was before I was born. So they have to bring in all of their soul's information and wisdom to be able to find themselves. And then they hold the key because they start resonating at a frequency that was from a higher dimension, or a frequency that was in from another planet, another dimension, another through into higher frequencies on Earth and so forth. And they resonate at that frequency. So they hold the key because they have the tenacity to be able to pull themselves out of trying to resonate with the rest of the world and resonate only with themselves. And then they vibrate at that tune. And then there's others that are out there that haven't connected to their souls yet. And then when they come close to them, they remember their soul's path, their soul's journey, if they have had a connection to the same soul, the same vibration, if their soul has been on that past journey eons ago, even before. So for instance, there was somebody who was, let's just call Pleiades, because I'm really into Pleiades, you know that. So someone comes from Pleiades. They went to Atlantis, Lemuria, they went through all the feminine, beautiful stuff and on Earth, and then they pass over, and then they decide they're going to become a, they're going to hold a code throughout the whole masculine energy of being in charge. So they come in and they get persecuted, they die, and they feel victim and all that, and they forget about their life, completely forget about their soul's connection to Pleiades especially. And then as somebody who comes from Pleiades starts to resonate at that frequency, because they've done this clearing, they've come straight from there, their soul comes straight from there, and they hold this resonance of remembering that, then these so-called witches or wizards or whatever, they've been persecuted, when they come close to them, resonate at the same, it's like the tuning fork resonates, and then that wakens them up to remembering their core essence of who they were before they were persecuted and were in a victim scenario. But then they have to go through their shadow work of releasing or realizing what's been holding them hostage, and it's usually their logical mind telling them a whole heap of crap about themselves, that they're useless and they have no power and all of that sort of stuff. So there's new relationships coming in there as well. Okay, a lot of information about that. So the reason why they're bringing all this up at the moment is because we're going to see a whole new dynamic in the way that relationships work. And if you've got two people that are star beings come straight from Pleiades, and they already have made a soul contract before they were born that they're going to come together once they found each other, once they started to resonate at that key frequency, they could be on the other side of the world from each other. But if they start vibrating at the same vibration because they've found themselves, it'll be a massive magnet pull that will pull them together, where they would want to shift and they'd want to move next to that person. And then they might have to store, then with that and being whole selves, when they come together, it'll be like two magnets becoming one. but they're still two magnets, right? They still have their individual stories that they move, but they are already proactively moving together towards creating this new earth as well. They're telling me that now. So they're saying that in these higher frequencies that they'll be shifting other people up, reminding them of their soul lineages as well, and opening. So they are the key holders because they open the door. They open the door first, and it's like a rush of people will come in afterwards because they're like, I know how to do this. And they can also verbally share the wisdom as well with others, so that their logical mind can come on board with this as well. Yeah, wow. Lots of juicy information just there, I think. Great physics. Thanks, Diana. Hey, everybody in the chat bar. Hey, David from Facebook as well. We only have David on there from Facebook. Thank you for saying hi. Yeah, so it's kind of exciting where this is going because we are developing this whole new sense of self. Once the key holders have opened the door, then they can go into playing in this new earth frequency because they are resonating with it. And they leave the door open for others to come in. So whenever in other words, what they're showing me is that then they might feel a pull to go traveling around the world a bit. And then when they come in contact with somebody else or near somebody else, just them being who they are, and in a playful energy will start to awaken others. So this is how we're starting to vibrate and move humanity's consciousness into a higher vibe, because it was actually initiated by the people that were on this planet, like early 1900s, where they started to get frustrated with the way that things were going, especially through those warring zones and so warring times. And so they ended up calling out for souls to come from higher frequencies to gift them these resonances to awaken them to their soul's understanding. And when they come in connection with their soul again, they now realize they're empowered from the inside out, and they don't need to look for a leader outside of themselves anymore. Nobody's in charge of them. They are in charge of themselves. And the higher frequencies, we're all in charge of ourselves. So the rule books all get thrown out because we don't need to have a rule book anymore, because we're coming from compassion, love for ourselves. When we connect with our soul, we're connecting to love, who is source energy, oneness. It is love going on a journey. It's what we started off with. It's who we are right from the very word go. And then fractions of us came out and created this beautiful, amazing story, this adventure that we're all going on, whether it's on Earth or another planet, doesn't matter. Or in an elemental world, it doesn't matter. It's just fractions of adventures from source energy. And so to have been held into that logical mindset of only being taken over, humanity wanted that to happen, remember? So Atlantis, Lemuria, we learned all about it, intuition and connection to source energy, God, whatever you want to call it. God is not something, to me and to my team and what they tell me, it's not something that's like a man outside of ourselves or anything like that. That was the logical mind trying to put a condense to it. Source energy, oneness is everything that's living. That's everything has, and it all holds resonance to hold a vibration, and it's held there by our observation of it, in deciding that becomes us. It's a quantum physics field where the wave becomes the particle, and so it's us, our logical mind, that turns it into the particle and the stronghold on an actual fixed position, so that we can play with it and use it and have adventures with it. But everything is source energy going on a journey. That's why when you go through the molecule stage of, like, they're showing me going through into atoms and nucleuses, and I'm not a scientist at all, please excuse me, but they're telling me these words. When you really go into the very tiny essence of it, it's just energy. When you go into the quarks, It's just energy. And that is, what is a quark? Dr. Fred Alan Wolf actually described this, that it is a thought process. It's your imagination wanting to be manifested. And so you put that feeling out to the world of wanting to see that in your reality. And so the fixed position becomes fixed when the logical mind says yes to it. So even though our imagination is held by our feminine side, see the relationship that starts to happen, we start to realize we're creators of this reality through the relationship of ourselves. And so we're magnetizing others towards us as well in that resonance that we're keeping hold within ourselves. Just seeing if there's anything else that they want to bring through with that subject. They keep going back to the quarks, and it's just pure energy, because they want to. It's good that we have the science that has delved into quantum physics, so that we can actually teach our logical mind the meet up of the spiritual energy of ourselves as well, so that it understands it from a different perspective because of the techniques, or what is it? They tried this out. They experiments. Sorry, trying to find that word. Experiments that they did in the quantum physics, and then it kind of made sense to that logical self. So yeah, it's about bringing in the imagination, and then when we've already imagined ourselves and as a soul self. Of the vibration of the world that we want to meet, where our relationships are really cool and unified, and that we are free as well to do as we want. And it's a natural coming together for something that was a unified field for those that resonated on the same projects. When that happens, the logical mind needs to come into play to agree with it and stop with this trying to control the outside world to match it, which is where we end up annoying everybody and fighting everything, because the logical mind's trying to control something outside of itself, but it's not in resonance with it, because it wants peace, but it's telling us that we're not good enough, we don't deserve peace. So it's in conflict with itself. And so that ends up as a debacle that ends up not resonating. And so then the logical mind says to self, oh, well, that person's not acting as I want, so I'm going to try to control them by manipulating and lying. And then that person might feel that a little bit and feel the resistance and resist back. And then we have the arguments. So when we're in harmony with ourselves, and we know that our logical mind is telling us that we deserve peace just as much as what we're seeking outside ourselves, then the imagination can come in and it can meet, so the logic meets, or the masculine meets the feminine, and it agrees with it. Yes, you are self-deserving of this peaceful, beautiful reality that we're stepping into. I want to explore that more with you. And then when the logical mind says yes to that, it will find grounding. It will turn the quarks into a physical thing that comes into your reality, and you become your outside world is a natural extension of yourself. Whew. It's a lot of information right there, guys. Holy crap-a-doodle. Hey, Danielle from Facebook. Hey, Candace, good to see you. Jaw to the floor. Too personal to share, but I totally get what you're saying. All relationships are as well, not as just spouse. I've had friends through power move away and others move into my life. Thank you for sharing, Candace. Yes. So the relationship that we are seeking is something between ourselves first, and how we are talking to ourselves from a logical sense, how we're treating ourselves is literally how we're allowing our imagination to flow in. So if our imagination, say for instance, starts to imagine this airy fairy world of beautifulness, right? Oh my God, wouldn't it be cool if we had a gorgeous collection of people, you know, collaboration of gathering of people where we share food and we just, you know, we're really feeling connected to earth again, and we help each other and all of that sort of thing. And then your logical mind comes in and goes, yeah, but you can't trust anybody. Yeah, but that's never going to happen. That is where our resistance is pulling. And so what we do is we start to seek the resistance instead of seeking the imagination. But when we ask our logical mind to back off, say, this is something new. Logic, this is masculine, this is something new. Literally like telling your partner, hey, I'm a feminine here. I want to lead the way. This is something new. Please put your swords down and trying to control your reality, and let me come in with the imagination so that we can walk a different path. Yes, you don't know this path, but when you learn it, you will manifest it or ground it into this reality for me. So I hold the imagination. The feminine holds the imagination. The masculine holds the capability of turning those quarks into practical form that we can actually use. Wow. I love that channeling. That's beautiful. So then our relationships all change because the masculine sits back and allows the feminine to come in, and then it says, I agree with this imagining, this imagining, and this imagining, because it's going to make our life better and everyone else's lives better. And so it starts to tell ourselves, it repeats contents. And this is why we were put in schools just to learn the masculine side, repeating lessons, or repeating things, made that logical mind fixate on it. And then that fixation ended up, because the male side or the masculine side of ourselves and masculine side in relationships are very dogmatic. Once they find a bone, they won't let it go, and they keep on repeating it to themselves until it becomes their reality. That's the magic of the logical mind. So now we're coming into the magic of the logical mind, instead of it just trying to control outside of itself to try to fix something that it doesn't even know how to do it, but it's just screaming out for that, and then it creates a problem outside of itself for us. Yeah, so many messages here, right? Thanks, Diane. Definitely needed to learn this new content. Thank you, Diane. Okay. Thanks, Danielle. A lot of important information. Yes. Well, it needs to be said, right? It needs to come forth. Okay. I'm like, now what? And they're like, tell them about your new school. So I've got to just use this as a little break here to let you guys know that I'm starting a new school, and it's really weird how my guides led me. I didn't even think of this until the circumstances led me to Patreon. So I ended up creating a Patreon. So the school is now going to go on Patreon, because YouTube took my YouTube down. I'm like, I don't really trust that so much now. Let's, instead of starting a new YouTube channel, start a Patreon. And they said this will actually help you support yourself as well, because I'm now leaving this home and needing to support myself too. So that's really cool. And then I got told there's another place called something about sharing a coffee with me or something like that. I can't remember what it's called now. But I got led to that, and I opened up one there too. So if you don't like Patreon, you've got this coffee break one. Anyway, the links are down below. So this school is intuitive school. It's called AMAKEL. AMAKEL means learning via the intuition in Pleiadian language. And it's all going to have a lot of games, just a lot of different games, so that you can start to use them to check in to see how your intuition skills and your vibes are going. Like, letting go of that logical mind enough to allow the intuition to come in. And it'll help exercise that, because it's not a lot of schooling, you know, that we've been through for the intuition, and feeling into our souls as well and our past lives. I'm going to bring up some of those as well, but there's going to be a lot of different games. And so if you want to join that, go join that. You can do free to join, and I'll do a few beginners classes that'll be free that you can have a look at. And then I'll do a whole heap more for those that, you know, pay I think it's $4 or $5 or something a month. And it's in Australian dollars. So anyways, if you want to join that, that's going to be up, and I'm going to just do hundreds and hundreds of games in the end. I've already got, I think, 15 together. I haven't put anything on there yet, just a beautiful intro. So if you want to go have a look at the intro, click the link below. Okay, enough of that. Let's see if there's any more channeling that I want to get into. Don't forget too, they said I will be doing free chat bar readings after the tarot reading on Thursday. So for any of those that don't realize, I've changed that up. So all the tarots together. So I'm going to do a general reading for the month of October on Thursday, and then open the chat bar readings as well for those on Thursday morning. So I'm going to keep this going no matter what. This channel will still be going, because I need to get these messages out for everybody and understanding how we actually are working within ourselves, and these new vibes. It's funny, they're telling me in the higher vibes, it's funny because they are coming from a point of view of reverse engineering for them. They're saying, like, we already live like that, and we don't think about it. It's just a natural, that's who we are, and the understanding of this, the self-importance of how we talk to ourselves is really valuable, and taught to all the children in those higher vibes. And any child that is of wisdom could be pushing you as a parent to become that high vibe. And so they will resist you. That's why we seem to have quite a few of these strong-minded or seemingly strong-willed kids coming up and just speaking very outspokenly to the parent of what they are doing wrong, because they already hold that understanding from the higher vibrations. There's a lot more being born now from those higher vibes too, which is actually accelerating us all. Yeah, but they're saying they reverse engineer, so they're actually seeing me go through what I've gone through, and I'm coming from the other side where I'm trying to piece it all together and put the pieces of the puzzles together so that I can get a bearing on how this is actually working, while they're sort of infiltrating little bits of messages through to me at the same time from a reverse engineering sort of thing. Because it's funny, it's a collaboration, like the figure of eight coming together, but interesting how they're showing me that. And then they're saying that they are there for me, and for those that come from those high frequencies or star beings or whatever, then we end up being for the rest, for others that are starting to move up the ranks. And so if you go into mainstream, you know, it's people out there don't quite understand, but they're not happy with their life, so they're going to start seeking for something different. And so you can be that. And you're a guide at that moment, but then you can fall back into now and just enjoying living on this beautiful planet, and then you're a guide in a moment. And so it goes like that, where you're not constantly the only leader. That's a logical way of thinking, where only one can lead many, and yet that one doesn't even have it together themselves. Doesn't even make sense. Yeah. So we're going to see a massive breakdown. And that's, okay, let's get back to relationships. That's literally why the breaking down of all of the relationships have happened, because we're actually seeking our soul's advice now on how to resonate like that tuning fork to that new resonance of who we are as a whole being. And that's including the soul's journey as well. And yeah. So at this very moment, they said that those that have been holding the keys, the key holders to opening those doors or that new resonance, probably wouldn't have made it. They might have just made it into bringing in their manifestation of their world, or they haven't made it quite yet. They have waited for the specific moment where the logical self, or the those that are been in charge, have pushed humanity's consciousness too far into a corner, and out of that resistance comes the I need to know more, I'm more than this, and that resistance ends up aligning with those that hold the keys. See how we're all waking each other up. It's not just someone from a high vibe waking up many. It has to be a connection to those that are waking up as well. And then the platforms that the light workers, or whatever you want to call them, have created start to become more. That's what they're telling me now. And so they've only been waiting for this moment. And so that, yeah. Okay, I think I said enough on that. Okay, let's get back to relationships, since it's what we started off with. Our relationship to they're telling me it's not just to a partner coming in, although, you know, soulmates that come in together that work really well together are going to help this world no end, because they become the powerful force of change just because of the way that they're living their life. And if you are somebody that sees someone like that, and if you feel a little ounce of jealousy, use it for your own advantage. Oh, I'm jealous of that. That means that I know that I can do it, because the jealousy is just the logical mind wanting to be there, but not actually being there in this moment. We're not there at that moment. You're not there as a physical person in that moment. And so you want to be there. And so the jealousy can come in through the resistance of, or why should they, turn it into, it's a sign for you to know that when you flip it into, yes, that is me as well, I'm just waiting for the right timing, then it will feel a lot lighter and the jealousy will subside, and then you can send love out to those people that have already made it, instead of resistance. And then you start to match their vibe, because you'll never match their vibe in the aspects of jealousy anyway, so you'll never claim that back to yourself. But use it as, turn it around on yourself and ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? That's another key there, or code, to understanding. Yeah. Okay. It's Diana's birthday. Happy birthday, Diana. Yeah, that's so cool. I've got a daughter's birthday on the 11th of October. She's over in Sweden. She's actually a scientist over in Sweden. Right. Is there anything else that you want to bring through for relationships? It will all evolve naturally as you start to have a better relationship with yourself, which is bringing us full circle back to that same, excuse me, relationships and the process of changing for the better, because we are learning to change our relationship with ourselves for the better. Full circle back to that, right? And we're talking about relationships with everything. And even saying this is relationships with your outside world. So when you look at your outside world, you can start to see the beauty in it, because you're seeing the beauty within yourself. It's really interesting, because there was one, whenever I walk into Subway, there's this one lady that serves, and she's just beautiful. And she always says how beautiful I am. And I ended up saying to her, that's only because of the beauty that you have within yourself, and you couldn't see it within me. And she's like, wow. She's just gorgeous, just a gorgeous lady. Very happy, always happy, you know, and that sort of thing. So when we start to see our outside world as beautiful, then you know you're raising your vibe into a higher vibe. It just naturally happens. Not something that you can try either. Don't try to do something. That's a logical mind trying to change the outside world. Oh, well, I'm just going to pretend it's like this, but I don't really feel it. It's when your feelings match your logic that it actually works. Yeah. Is there anything else, please? I'm just going to get, even if it's something else about another topic, I'm just going to get my Moldavite out and see if I can tune in. Yeah, so if there is a breaking up of something that's happening at the moment and you're feeling like that little bit of anxiousness coming through, you could be taking on the world going through such a massive change, especially if you're empathic. So give yourself, you know, baths and just chilling, and try not to try. That keeps coming up as well. They're reminding me of, for some reason, when I was in a bath, I was trying, you know how you see a bug in the bath, right? And you try to get it. And whenever you get it, that pull happens. It's like those magnets that push things along. The water resistance ends up pushing along the thing. No matter what, it just falls off your hand and you just can't seem to connect. But then this morning when I had a bath, too much visual there, I know. I just raised my hand and I saw that a spider had just fallen on my hand without me even trying. And so that's because you're already in resonance of saving the spider or pulling the spider out, even if it's died, sorry. But you're in resonance of it connecting to you without the thinking. It's the trying that's actually forcing us into a problem, because trying means that your logical mind feels like it's not really going to get there. It's like if you say, try to hold my hand, as soon as someone holds it, it's like, no, you're not trying anymore. You're holding it. You're either holding it or you're not. So I know that's been brought up before with people, but they're bringing it up again at the moment to just really come back to self and allow yourself to be whole within you, and just be that. Just keep on practicing your own self-awareness at the moment, because you could be taking on, I know I can feel anxiety at the moment with the rest of the world and with myself going through massive changes. It's like that vibe, and I want to shift out of it. So if I shift out of it, then others will shift. That's how I feel. And then others in my reality will show up shifting out of it as well. So even though I am, you know, in the process of, I don't know where I'm going to live and all that sort of stuff, I need to come back to myself and just be at peace with that. And the less resistance, the more opportunities will show up. This is the whole new way of moving through this world, a whole new way. It's literally the opposite of what we've been taught. So understandable that through the transition, it can be, and then, okay, I've got it, and then, okay, I've got it, that sort of thing. Okay, I don't think that there's anything else that's coming through at the moment other than that. Yeah. Don't forget about my new AMAKEL class, my AMAKEL schoolroom and new reality school. I want to bring a big family together. That's my energy going into this, is to bring us all together and and raise our vibe into something beautiful. Okay, and I'll also do some explanations on telepathic, telekinesis, astral traveling, dreams, lucid dreaming, lucid waking, that sort of thing. I want to bring in a lot lessons and with that as well, which will just be me chatting. Okay, yeah, I think, is there anything else? I don't think there is today. I think that's enough to take in. Yeah, they're like, there's a lot to unpack there, especially at the beginning of this channel message. There's a lot to unpack there that came through. Yeah, don't forget to hit the like button and help my algorithms. Place a comment underneath. It always helps, even if it's just a little emoji or a heart. I am so grateful for that. I'm so grateful for my family anyway. I have such a beautiful family that supports me no end in the chat bars and so forth every week. Every week, you guys, without fail. Thank you so much for being part of this transformation, right? Together, we are doing it. Okay, love you guys heaps, and until Thursday, I will do a general reading for October and free chat bar readings then. Get out my cool tarots. I love doing the tarot as well. And until next time, don't forget to sign up, even if it's for free, for the AMAKEL classes. And if you do that, you'll see I'll put some classes up this week, so that'll be fun.